And welcome to our September edition of Sports Highlights. We are on the road. Greg Picaveras along with Ray Price and the entire crew for our September edition. Our program airs on TV and YouTube Mondays at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., 7 p.m., weekends at 9 a.m. on Cox Cable 47, 517, NNPSTV.com, and all over social media. We've done a lot of CNU interviews over the years, and now we're with the head football coach at CNU in his fourth year, Paul Crowley. Good to see you, Paul.
Excited to be here, Greg.
Talk about this backdrop. This has been home for you for a long time.
Yeah, came here, 20 years ago or so, all the way back in 2005 as a player. Grew up in the beach and, knew there was a place up in Newport News that was winning a lot of football games, and, that was appealing to me. So I was fortunate to coach here for a long time under Matt Kelchner, our original head coach.
How has this place evolved since you've been a player?
Oh, it's changed drastically. I think most Newport News residents know that. The amount that President Tribble put into the university, and obviously the facilities upgrades, but the academic rigor and the excitement about sports has grown over the years too.
Well, let's talk about first, since we're right here at the backdrop of the field, your thoughts on the surface, the field, and playing here on Saturdays on game day.
Yeah, we play on grass, which we're one of the only teams out there left that does, so we think it's a pretty distinct advantage, both from our guys having played on it, but if it rains a little bit, the opposing teams don't like it very much. So it's an advantage. Then we get 5,000-6,000 people at the home game, so you really do get true home field advantage here in Newport News.
How did your time as an assistant coach prepare you as a head coach?
Yeah, I think anytime you're looking into the job you want in the future, you're paying attention to the people you've worked for. So I got to work for Matt Kelchner and Jimmy Laycock up at William & Mary, and you see the things you like, see the things you don't like, and try to build your program around them.
Talking to Paul Crowley, he is in his fourth year as the head football coach at CNU. He played here, has been an assistant here. He's definitely paid his dues. And talk about your staff.
Yeah, I got, one of the most important things I could do was hire guys I felt were the right fit for CNU, and that's guys that wanted to stay in one place and build something. So I know you guys will be talking to Craig Smith, our offensive coordinator. He's a local guy from Virginia Beach, done a great job for me. Eli Wicklund, our defensive coordinator, been here the whole time. And then excited to have Tom Clark coming aboard. A guy with a lot of extensive experience, Liberty, VMI, a bunch of places, coordinating our special teams.
Yeah, and you went to Lansdowne in Virginia Beach, so you know the 757 very well. How important is it to recruit both the South Side and the Peninsula, and right here in Newport News especially? Yeah,
it's incredibly important. I think various times throughout the program, guys have tried to leave out of state, and we've made a pretty concerted effort to stay only in the state of Virginia. I think 99% of our roster is, and obviously that starts locally with Newport News, Hampton, Williamsburg, and then the South Side plays really, really good football too. So I'd say roughly 40% of our roster is made up of those guys.
And a lot of good players play right at Phoebus.
No question, and Coach Blunt actually went to school here for a little bit, and Coakley, the principal, played here too, so we got some good connections.
Talking to Paul Crowley, he's the head football coach at CNU. What's the game day experience like in your opinion? How much does it rile up the team?
Yeah, it's better than anywhere else. I think guys go on the road for the first time and they feel a little bit deflated. We have a 200-person band, and the best way I can put it is it feels the way college football is supposed to feel. You're playing on a grass field, it's a 1 o'clock kickoff. The band's playing, the cheerleaders are there. It's just a pretty special environment.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. I think a lot of the people like the daytime games. They can have dinner afterwards, they can enjoy the game, and go about their weekend as well without disrupting anything.
Yeah, and we selfishly like it as coaches too, so you're not kind of anxiously waiting around all day. You get to get in and get out and spend some time with your family.
Yeah, what do you remember the most about your time as a player here?
Probably a big win here. It was Pomoka at the time, now Town Bank Stadium. We played number 2 or 3 Mary Hardin Baylor. Early in the season, really, really hot September, humid day, and beat them on a last-second forced fumble, 14-13. And that was one of the bigger wins in program history my sophomore year.
I remember when this was just a vision for the former president, Paul Tribble. Now it's a reality, and it's a great way to start the school year with brand new students, not just on the football team, but for the entire campus as well.
Yeah, I know in President Tribble starting the program back in 2001, he felt it was instrumental to really feel like a college campus to have a football program, something guys could rally around, and girls could rally around in the fall, especially early on as freshmen, kind of first getting initiated into CNU.
Well, let's talk about the schedule, and then let's talk about your conference. Your thoughts about the 25 schedule?
Yeah, it's a daunting one. So we have a couple big home games early. Trine comes from Indiana, a good program from out in the Midwest, so we're excited for that one in our home opener. And then our second home game is going to be Susquehanna University, which is number 3 or number 4 in the country, depending on which poll you look at. And then from there, we have our normal NJAC schedule. We play in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, which is a lot of New Jersey Northern-based teams that are big physical opponents. So we definitely got our work cut out for us.
Talking to Paul Crowley right here at CNU. And Paul, do you have like a rigid schedule for the players before game day at home and then schedule for the game day on the road as far as meals, discipline, being in the dorm or the hotel room?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's imperative. Home game's a little different than away game, but basically, we're using up every minute we have with the guys to make sure they're focused on the right things. Discipline is really one of the most important factors in winning and losing football games.
Yeah. Now, one thing for a fact that CNU's been in a lot of different conferences going back to the time before you were here and while you were here and now. Talk about some of the different conferences and what are the pros and cons as far as travel.
Yeah, initially we're in the USA South, which was more Virginia-based. Some schools in North Carolina, then eventually we added teams down in Alabama and Tennessee. So a little different brand of football. I'd say the skill guys were maybe a little bit better. Down there, good opponents that way. As we've joined the New Jersey Athletic Conference, kind of what you'd picture with New Jersey, Pennsylvania type kids, being bigger, faster, stronger.
Talk about as far as players this year, returning players, who are some of the key players?
Yeah, offensively, we got some good players coming back. Our quarterback, Connor Berry, had a good all-conference year last year. We're excited to have him. Gunnar White at running back, local kid from Tallwood and Virginia Beach, has scored a ton of touchdowns for us over the 3 years I've been here. Jordan Lennon from York High School, local kid, another running back that's very talented, had a great year for us. And then, on the offensive line, we have a bunch of guys coming back we're excited about. And then defensively, Eli Shortfield had 5 interceptions for us last year. He'll be coming back on that side of the ball.
How do you deal with depth and injuries as well, as far as how many players to get?
Yeah, I think the more depth you have, the better you'll always be, and that's something we've been pushing for. And we're excited because this is year 4 of us together as the coaching staff. So the kids we brought in as freshmen have matriculated all the way through the program. So we feel like we have better depth than we typically have. And the best teams have to have depth because you can't prevent injuries. They're going to happen. You got to have guys ready to step up.
Now, talk about, for the people that don't know about Division III. Now, Division I, of course, is all about the portal and NIL. First of all, your thoughts about how that's changed college football.
Yeah, it's drastically different. I know, talking to some of my colleagues still at the Division I level, it's not a lot of fun like it used to be to coach there, where you're having to re-recruit your own guys, and just you don't get to have the one-on-one experience with the kids over the course of 4 years and really grow and mold them. And I think that's the advantage we still have in D3. We don't have a lot of attrition one way or the other, so you're able to build relationships that become long-lasting.
Yeah, because, you mentioned how it used to be. That's how it was. 4 years, 5-year red shirts. You don't see that often. The big schools, like in the Big Ten and the SEC, it's all about maybe 1 year, 2 tops.
Yeah, it's a more mercenary approach, and, I think most coaches will tell you at the end of the day they do it for the relationships, for the fun you have growing and mentoring 18 and 19-year-old kids, and obviously that's a lot harder to do in a shortened time span.
Do you sign some of your assistant coaches to be specifically on the road? I mean, some will cover Virginia. How do you do states outside of Virginia?
Yeah, so we just divvy up Virginia. We don't go out of state purposefully. Again, I grew up on Virginia football and know the amount of talent in the state, and we felt like if we cultivated that correctly, there'd be no need to go anywhere else. So each coach has their own area. Like, for example, I do the south side of Hampton Roads. We have a coach that does Newport News, Hampton, Williamsburg, and Richmond, and Northern Virginia, and so on and so forth.
Look how much football's changed from a physical standpoint, being in the weight room, nutrition, exercise. You were a lineman at one time, but that was a while back. It takes really a village to get a football team completed and done.
No question. Coach Dean, our strength coach, has been here since we started football, but when you look at our record boards and some of the times guys run and the amount they can lift, it's only getting better and better as technology grows. So, guys, compared to even when I played, are definitely bigger, faster, stronger.
Well, let's talk about that. Practice, restrictions on practice for weekday with exams and schoolwork and so forth. How much time are you on the field? How much time are you allotted in the weight room?
Yep, we get about 3 hours a day on the field, and that's including meeting time. Then there might be weight room time that day, there might not. It just depends sort of on the day of the week. But yeah, the hands-on time with the kids is lessened compared to what it used to be, so you got to make sure you're making the most out of that time.
Yeah, and of course, it's a village like we mentioned earlier too, and it really does take everybody. When you talk about the entire concept of football, the fundamentals on the field, off the field, you just don't show up on game day. It's what you just said, that 3-hour practice session, and sometimes it seems like it's cut shorter and shorter with more demands on everybody's time.
No question, and even things like academic support. We have great academic support staff, because you take an 18, 19-year-old freshman, it's really an adjustment coming to college. So there's a comprehensive plan to make sure they're successful.
All right, what are your goals this year?
The goal is always to win the conference.
Right.
I think year in and year out, that's what you want to do. Get better as the season progresses, and then see what happens from there.
You have people that look at your offense, defense, and special teams, but you can't just say you're doing the line anymore. You got to look at the whole team, as you've done the last 4 years. Does that put in more added responsibility to you as well? But you just can't focus on one or two things.
Yeah, and I still coach the quarterbacks, but it has changed perspective. In some ways, your time becomes more limited at certain things, but I'd argue I think I'm better holistically of understanding football than I was 4 years ago. Understanding defense, and obviously that helps you as an offensive coach too.
And the last thing, so much is put on physical health and staying in shape, but how about mental health? Because you can tell right away when a kid is not right.
Yeah, and the more points of contact you have with the kids, the better. So I just brought up our academic support staff, our strength and conditioning staff, our training staff. There's a whole village of people, like you said, that really make sure they're successful. And the more people that are checking on them, the more people that are looking for those mental health concerns, the earlier you can find them and hopefully get them fixed.
All right, that's interview number 1 right here on our September Back to School show. Football season, of course, right here at CNU with the captain's head football coach, Paul Crowley. He played here, he was an assistant here, and now he is a head coach in his 4th year. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more CNU guests after this.
And welcome back to the Virginia High School 1600-meter state championship. As we get back to the action, we see Miles Monpoint is gaining on Antonio Boyd for the first place finish. Oh! Miles Monpoint just tripped Antonio Boyd.
But Trayvon is helping him up right now.
Trayvon is helping him up as Trayvon just sacrificed his 3rd place finish to help out Antonio Boyd.
Yeah, that right there is kindness and excellent sportsmanship right there by Trayvon.
And welcome back to our second segment of Sports Highlights on the road at CNU, now with assistant coach Craig Smith. Hope you enjoyed our first guest as well. Craig, good to see you.
Thank you, Greg, for having me.
This is your home, 757. You grew up on the south side, now you're an assistant at CNU.
Yep. I grew up in Virginia Beach, excited to be, back home, went away for a little bit, different places, how college does, takes you to different places. So excited to be back home around friends and family.
So I guess when you were going to high school at Kellum, you probably even never knew the peninsula was this big, probably.
I didn't. It was kind of like its own little world being out there in Virginia Beach, with all of those schools. So going to Kellum, I really only knew those schools out that way, as well as some in Chesapeake too. So.
Just to give you some backstory, Virginia Beach has 11 high schools, Hampton has 4, Newport News has 5. Talk about your role here as offensive coordinator.
Yeah, so my role is, obviously the, play caller and all that good stuff and putting things together. Me and Coach Crowley, head football coach, as well as our offensive line coach, he's a big Kepper, do a great job of game planning, managing, the offensive guys and things of that nature. So that's kind of what we get done here.
How important is it to be on the same page with you and the head coach and all the assistants? Because really, you all have to make one decision at the end of the day.
Right. It's very important because it starts with the head coach, what he wants. And I make sure that, that gets delivered for the most part, right? And you do your best to make sure that you meet the demands that, he asks for, the things that he asks for, I should say. That way game day can go as smooth as possible. So.
September is still a very hot, humid month. How important is it for these guys to stay in condition? Because a lot of times they can gas out in the second quarter, especially those early games.
Right. It's very important. I think those guys working out in the summertime, just like I did coming out of high school and college and stuff like that's very important, hydrating and all of that stuff. I think you get an idea of that on the very first day. When guys are moving around a little bit, you do some conditioning tests, but it's very important. And you get a little bit of that taken care of during camp as well, doing a little extra running and stuff like that. And we do a decent job just in general. Our practices are fairly up-tempo, keep guys moving and stuff like that, so they're able to get in shape during camp too.
Craig, talk about some of your schemes on offense.
Yeah. So, just to start off, we're a multiple spread offense. We motion shift and trade. We'll use various personnel groupings. We'll put guys in different positions. One young man that you'll speak with, Gunnar White, he's a guy who is kind of a positionless player, but he is a running back, right? And you can use him kind of like a Christian McCaffrey where you put him out on the perimeter, you run screens and things like that. So you can put him out as a number 1 receiver, number 2 receiver, and do some different things. So we're going to be multiple in what we do. Always like to say, facing us on offense or when you're on defense facing us, while we're on offense. It's almost like playing a triple option team because you can get hit in a lot of different ways. And having a quarterback like we do, he's able to stretch the field. So we're able to stretch vertically as well as horizontally on the game field.
Are you able to make a lot of halftime adjustments game to game, or sometimes you just don't have the time to do it?
We have the time to do it. And we have a lot of the times when we go in at halftime, there's a lot of things that we haven't even called yet. And quite honestly, on our play sheet, we'll probably have, believe it or not, maybe over 100 plays. And some of we haven't hit a lot of them, obviously, so there's a lot of different things that we can go to and or adjust. And our guys have great memories. Our guys do a good job of retaining the information that we give them. So if we have to make some slight adjustments, that typically isn't an issue. Same thing with maybe if somebody were to get injured and we have to put somebody else in there to do the same job, we can do that as well.
Right here on the road at CNU, talking football as well. And you talk about when you and I were growing up, there weren't as many distractions.
Right.
The phone was not a big deal.
Right.
We pretty much went to school, had our lunchbox, went to PE, academics, athletics, activities. Now we live in a different world.
Right.
How does the staff help temper that with these kids?
I think it's hard to do, right? Because all of these guys, just like we do, you have these small computers in your pocket. So it's hard to control guys doing that. You just hope that the young men that you have on your football team understand, hey, I need to be disciplined. Certain things I can and cannot pay attention to, and it can't be a distraction. But we'll harp on it a little bit. Won't make it a big issue, so those guys will actually pay attention to that. But it's hard to do, to be quite honest.
You mentioned trying the first game. How do you start preparing now from last year, or do you get practice tape? How does that work for game one?
Right. So what happens is there's an agreement typically with the other opponent, such as trying with their head coach and our head coach on whether or not they want to exchange film. So they come to an agreement, and a lot of times they exchange maybe the last 2 games of the season that they played. So preparation, even for them, probably started in the spring. I know for us being able to watch the film, break it down, have an idea of what they were doing and all that stuff, that started in the spring, and it will continue during camp as well. But at the beginning, it's going to be about us getting better, us working on our discipline, attention to detail, and finishing everything that we start, and then we'll transition into trying, getting prepared for them, what they do defensively and all of that good stuff. Who
was your mentor growing up?
My mentor was Tyson Veit. He's somebody that when I got into college coaching, he did, I'll be honest, he was very detail oriented, did things the right way, worked hard, cared about his players. He's now the defensive coordinator at the University of Cincinnati, was at Iowa State prior, as a linebackers coach, assistant head coach. But he was somebody that definitely was inspiration, as well as somebody that is a mentor still to this day.
When we're this close to the season or in the season, you only have a little bit of time to prepare from game to game. Are you pretty much in game mode now? I am. I'm locked in. So it's definitely a great time. When your body knows when it's there, and it is time. And it locked in, can't go to sleep, waking up at 4:30 in the morning, ready to go, plays on the mind, camp and how I'm going to do things, how we're going to do things on the mind. So you get in the mode. And Craig, that's a good point too. The more you visualize, more osmosis you have, right, mentally prepared, that'll give you an advantage.
Absolutely. I firmly believe it. I'm even when I was a player, it was all about envisioning, hey, how are you going to do certain things? How am I going to react to this? How I'm going to react to that? And that's the same exact thing that I do now as an offensive coordinator, is how I'm going to react to certain things. If a defense does this, if they play cover 2, if they're blitz happy, these are the plays I'm going to go to, so on and so forth. So that's how it, naturally works now.
Yeah, the more conviction you have, the more it translates to players.
Right.
Do you see who the team leaders are early on?
Yeah, I think we have an idea. And as I mentioned, one young man that you'll talk to, Gunnar White, he's a guy who's a pretty good leader. He leads by example. So you'll see his work and notice. Our quarterback, Connor Berry's a guy, I'm just talking about offensive, a guy who's a leader as well, leads by example, as well as, a few other guys, some offensive linemen, Kellen Roberts and, Andrew Belfort, and as well as Colin Hart, who's one of our receivers. They do a great job of leading.
For a person who grew up here and you do recruiting now,
Right.
how much of a benefit it will be when the other part of the tunnel is built and you don't have to worry about, you still have to worry about delays regardless.
Right.
And I'm sure we'll still have delays,
Right.
but it will help, right?
It definitely will. Like right now, you got to wait till about 7, 8 o'clock at night to get going, or early in the morning to get going. So it will be great to be able to get over the other side a lot faster.
All right, give us your advice for a high school player that wants to play college football at CNU.
Yeah, so make sure you're maintaining your business in the classroom. The average GPA getting in here is roughly about a 3.6. There is some flexibility, so making sure that you manage your business in the classroom, as well as update your high school film. Make sure you put it up there, whether you use Huddle or any other system. That way we can evaluate it, and then reach out to us. And we'll be out at every high school. We recruit every high school in the state of Virginia, so we'll be around. We'll make sure that we're talking to coaches and stuff like that as well.
Several decades of football excellence right here at CNU, and Craig Smith is a big part of that as the offensive coordinator. Grew up in Virginia Beach, so we got all 757 people, even the people working on the show from Hampton Roads. Stay tuned for our third guest, and Craig Smith, thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I've been rising up and inventing in my classes.
I've been rising up to be the best student athlete I can be.
I'm rising up as a leader in my school.
I'm rising up to prepare for my future career.
We are all rising up and preparing ourselves for success. Thanks to our dedicated teachers and staff in Newport News Public Schools.
Rise up!
And welcome back to our third segment right here at CNU on the road, our September edition, going behind the scenes of CNU football like we never have before right here on campus. Talking now to Gunnar White. He went to Tallwood High School. He's a running back. Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, too.
Talk about your experience at CNU.
It's been everything I could have hoped for. When I came here, Coach Crowley was a big part of that because I think he's a great leader, a great football mind, and he's just put me in positions all 4 years I've been here to have fun. We got a great group of guys, and there's nothing more I could ask for being part of this team.
You've had winning records, too.
Yes, sir. We've done a lot of winning. Hopefully this year we can do a little more, but you can't complain too much.
How many times do you like to get the ball a game, or you just don't worry about it just whenever they give it to you?
And just whenever they give it to me, whenever my number's called, I'm going to try to deliver. Every game's different, the game plan, what we need to do to win, and that's what I really care about the most.
You haven't played much defense, and you said something off there that you don't like necessarily tackling, but you don't mind getting tackled.
Yeah. I've never liked defense. I don't really like tackling, but I'll bring a little thump when I'm running the ball, but I don't like to do the tackling part.
All right, well, take us from a student's perspective. What do you expect for the team this year?
I have really high expectations. I think we have truly a special group of guys from a talent standpoint, but then culturally, I think we really got to figure it out. And then it's just a big family. I think we all really get along. We all really like being around each other. And Coach Crowley always says the closest team, that's who's going to win the most at the end of the season.
And you have a great staff, and of course, camaraderie is so important. You build camaraderie during the off season and also before the games.
Yes, for sure. We're with each other constantly. Through camp, it's all day. We're going up to games. We have 7-8 hour bus rides and hotel, and then the whole off season. I think we do a good job with the camaraderie in practice and workouts, and then outside of football, we all spend a lot of time together and just enjoy being around each other.
Gunnar White went to school in Virginia Beach at Tallwood High School. How was that experience?
It was good. I learned a lot there. I think I got pretty good development. Our records weren't always best there, but the same thing. It was just fun playing football, being with the guys, and I can't look back on it too bad.
Is there a team here this season you're really looking forward to playing, or you're looking forward to playing everybody?
I really do look forward to playing everybody. Salisbury's always a special game. It's a rivalry. This year it's senior night, so that'll be fun, but really every game I get excited for.
How about fan support from Virginia Beach coming here to watch you, your mom and her friends and your family members?
Yeah, that's something I really feel just blessed to have. It's a big part of why I came here. My parents being able to come to every game, my sister, trainers, my grandparents, all that is truly a blessing, honestly.
Really? So what do you enjoy the most? What do you enjoy the least?
The most, obviously the games. I love playing football, truly. Least, you know, you get a little banged up and nicked up, so I don't like dealing with, you know, those injuries and that maintenance and stuff like that. But
how do you stay hydrated and fueled up during a game? Now, you have to eat properly. Normally, you guys have a meal well before the time of kickoff. Take us through game day.
Well, I have a hydration kind of ritual. I'll usually get a gallon of water and Pedialyte the night before, and drink half of each the night before, the other half on game days, and then throughout the game, and drinking water at meals and just keeping up with the Gatorade and electrolytes and all that.
Exactly. What advice would you give? There were people in your shoes several years ago. What advice would you give to somebody that wants to play college football?
I think the best advice I got when I was in high school going through recruiting is kind of just love who loves you. A lot of people chase going to a bigger school, going somewhere just to say they went D1. But some of those schools, you know, maybe they're showing you a little interest, they don't love you that much. If you go to who truly wants you and like wants you to be at their school, you're gonna have the most fun, the best experience.
What do you enjoy the most about campus life?
That's tough. I'm probably the people. There's just a lot of people, really great people here that I love being around, and I can't ask for much more.
In order for you to play on the football field, you have to have your academics right. So I'm sure there's been some favorite classes you've had over the years.
Yeah, you know, anatomy is definitely interesting. You know, I used to want to go into physical therapy, so learning all that and like the workings of the body, and it kind of translates to football too. So that's probably the most interesting for me that I've taken.
Yep, and exactly. When you talk about your team, your past teams, how would you summarize them? You've had all winning records. You're looking forward to 25, but there's something you can draw from each year to help you this year?
I think my freshman year, we had a great group of seniors that, one, they were close to the senior class. They did a good job bringing in the young guys and setting the culture. And then my sophomore and junior years, we've just been so talented and still continue to build that culture. And then this year, I think we really have it nailed down. The camaraderie, the accountability, and then talent-wise too.
Who was your mentor in football growing up?
Growing up, my dad, for sure. You know, he's the one that got me in the game. When I was little, we used to be in the house. He'd throw pillows at me for me to juke. He'd do drills with me all when I was coming up, so definitely him.
All the best to you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
in fall of 25.
Thank you.
All right, that is our CNU show. It's in the wraps, in the books right here from the Captain's Field. They've been playing since the early part of the 21st century and still rolling on. I want to thank the head coach, the assistant coach, and right here, Gunnar White. So for Ray Price, I'm Greg Bicaveras. Thanks for watching Sports Highlights, our September edition, getting closer to 400, and we'll talk to you soon.